You are listening to the ERP, Organizational Change Journal, a podcast brought to you by Nestell and Associates.
Maureen, you share on your website too, and I want to share this quote with our listeners because it's really factual. But you say that most projects have a 70 to 80% probability of failure, but that you can increase that probability of success to 80%. So if you could just briefly, and to challenge you a little bit here, Maureen, if you had to provide one single influence that could improve that success rate, just one, what would it be?
You know, that statistic actually came from some work by McKinsey, and there were certainly more than one thing.
Yeah.
One that stood out, and I may give more than one, but one that stood out is shifting from the mindset of there's a burning platform, we're moving out of the station, do what I tell you, or we're going to run you over. And I realize people say it a little nicer, but that's the tone. Versus the thing we talked about, inspiring leadership, setting up an environment where people are enabled and they participate, where they don't. I mean, there is still failure. So I'm not going to say there's no failure. People can flame out. But for people who are making deliberate choices, they're continuing to learn, and in creating an environment where people are. So to me, it's a culture of this learning and growth and agility. When we have that culture and people are supporting one another, then the probability of innovating, and this comes from the work of Jim Ritchie Dunham and his book on ecosonomics, and he looks at some key relationships, but it really comes down to, do I support my colleagues in their learning and growth? Because when we are making changes, we're going to mess stuff up. I'm going to be trying something new and I'm going to get it wrong. I updated my Microsoft today and blew up my calendar, and just stuff goes wrong. And if we don't have an environment where it's acceptable to make mistakes, if I'm humiliated and now I have to quit because I'm such an idiot, then we never succeed. So for me, it is about creating an environment that is accepting and supportive of learning and growth.
Yeah, that well said. That was a bit of a trick question that I think is almost impossible to answer, simply because there's, like you said, there's too many variables, which is really a part of the point to be made, I think. And I think, again, through vertical development, reflection, taking maybe the scientist mindset, as you describe, and, there's a lot for leaders to reflect on and really think about.